you today. Well, you know what I mean. But it's lovely to address all of you today. We are essentially in the countdown to very powerful solar eclipse in Libra. And I just wanted to talk to you about what that is and what that implies for all of us. And here I see that in my enthusiasm, I forgot to take the cat hair off. But having said that, let's get into it. So, I did do a version of this earlier for those of you who follow me via Instagram, and that's a good version to also look at. But with YouTube, we generally have a larger audience and more interaction, which is fine. But either way, I wanted to make it available in both spaces in different ways. I see N Black, Dr. B, glad to see you. You're looking good. Thank you so much. Please say hi to the fam. Lots of love to you. And I hope you're doing well at this time. So yes, it is nice to be back with the fam, all of you with the community. And it's nice to be able to work again, though it has taken a while to get here. In fact, some of you actually sent me some beautiful gifts and beautiful presents, and I feel very blessed to have the kind of people that I do that follow my work and interact with me and have done so for many years. And it's a powerful and beautiful tribute to just what we're all creating here. And I see Candy. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Um, but yeah, let's get to the topic. So, solar eclipses, like lunar eclipses, are significant events, but it's important not to hype them up too much because you're going to see multiple events every single year that you exist. So if you put in too much significance into an eclipse, you can kind of get lost in the fear mongering that tends to surround it. And I see Sheena. Hi, Sheena. So, the solar eclipse is effectively a supercharged new moon, and we're about to experience that at 21 degrees of Libra as per the Western tropical astrological system. If you use a different system, it's a different sign, and that's fine. It's like speaking a different language, but this is the language that I use on this channel. So, the solar eclipse in Libra is a very powerful time for all of us to be setting certain seeds. And these seeds need to focus on the way we think about our relationships, the contracts we make with other people, be it personal or professional. Karmic contracts also apply. And more generally speaking, in the questions of how we navigate boundaries vis a vis others with truth, with balance, with fairness, with justice, to create the larger goal of harmony in community. And those are the key themes that are key opportunities that that we really need to be looking at right now in our lives. But the thing about Libra, and this is something I didn't learn from anyone, I felt this deeply in myself because I basically have a lovely Libran brother, and we have clashed over the years because I'm a cat, he's a Libra. But he has, brought about a deeper appreciation of the sign for me. So in the same way, when I look at Gemini, I do this. When I look at Libra, I'm like, so, yes, I have my biases, but everyone does. But let me explain to you why I like Libra. In fact, why I love Libra as a sign. Compared to all of the other signs, Libra is the only one that's not in a rush to go somewhere. Even Pisces is swimming somewhere, it's doing something. But Libra is a space of neutrality. And that's why it is the arbiter of justice. Now, because Libra is able to hold that space for others, people tend to project, things like submissiveness, weakness, being meek, being a doormat upon Libra, which isn't necessarily true. What Libra does is it provides you space, it provides you context. Because without the space to be heard, no matter how just your cause is, you cannot be heard. And what Libra provides is an ability to see that larger picture by taking into account what everyone has to say at the table. And it is the only sign that really focuses on others in that way. Now, Aquarius is the closest to it, but Aquarius does have its own agenda. Whereas Libra is more about that interpersonal nature of connection the set of whether it's codified in law or unwritten norms that allow relationships to occur, that allow social contracts and agreements to occur, which form the basis of what we call a social construct and a social experience of reality. And all of this is very, very Libran. And so it is the space that actually allows us to be and to allow others to be. But when Libra has had enough, when you have overstepped your boundaries or you are demanding things to the point where there is no more balance, there is no more coping, that's where Libra basically goes, okay, enough. And if you piss off a Libran and a Libran wants to walk away from you, there is nothing that you can do to bring them back because they've already made their decision or judgment. Now, I hope that circumstances won't be that harsh with that kind of sense of grave finality for you. But just bear in mind that the person who is holding the space is not the weak person in the connection. It is the person who has the strength to wait, to watch, to observe, and then to make hopefully what is a just call. Libra is not always about balance in the sense of temperance, like the tarot card. Because if you swing too hard on one side of the scale, the other side is not going to be, oh, just the other side swinging. It's also going to swing violently in turn. So, in this sense, Libra is also a powerful cause and effect. It all depends on the case. And that at an individual level and a collective level also comes down to the notion of karma and how we see that mirrored through all of our connections and contracts with various beings and people and ideas and entities throughout our life cycles. So, what Libra covers is immense, and people forget that. But during this solar eclipse, what I want you to do is be. And I know that's good advice for anyone who is on a spiritual path anyway. Being is like the key cornerstone of things. But I want it to be a very conscious sense of being, to observe, to allow, to accept that what is happening in this moment is exactly what you need to see. And that's hard to do when you are living in a circumstance of great strife, uncertainty, or even pure belligerence. You can be like, what does she mean accept? The world's on fire. How am I supposed to accept this? And if you know me and you've been following me for a while, you know how outspoken I can be on issues to do with fairness and justice. But when I say accept and be, I mean from an internal position. Because when you go into anything with a space of internal clarity, whatever you do on the outside is going to be projected on by others anyway. Whether you're acting fairly or unfairly, people are going to have opinions about it. But what I want you to do is whatever you are guided to do at this time, let it come from an inner space of stillness. And that is where that acceptance needs to be. Because only when you accept that this is what a situation is right now, can you then decide to do something about it. Only when you go, okay, this is what I'm really seeing, can you then go, what are the remedial measures? Because if you do not feel clear in assessing whatever you're assessing in your life and you're constantly pushing at it with your projections, your ideas, your hopes, desires, dreams, fears, needs, and wants, you're not actually going to see it for what it is. You're going to see it for what your ego mind is seeing it as. And that might not necessarily be the truth. So take the time, be, accept what you're seeing is what you are actually seeing, and then let yourself come to a decision. As I said, I hope most of you are not having to make very harsh or dire decisions in relationships in your life. Some of you might. Some of you might see more of that coming with the next eclipse. But what I do hope for all of you, for myself included, is the ability to see truthfully and compassionately. And both are equally important. Now, sometimes, no matter how compassionate you are, you just have to cut a certain tie, you have to walk away, you have to burn a bridge. And if you have to do that, do so with compassion for yourself and for the other person. You don't need to do it with hatred, you don't need to do it with resentment, you don't need to do it with judgment. If you have to walk away from something or if you have to deliver bad news in some way, Do it from a space of this is what it is, but I'm not going to inject any more invective into it. But hopefully that will be, not the dominant trend for most of you. Hopefully it will be the opportunity to create a bridge between someone else or you and someone else. Hopefully it'll be a time to celebrate harmony in social groups, harmony in community. Hopefully it's a time that you will get a fair verdict if you're waiting on a court case. But these are really variables that I can't predict for all of you because this is a collective alignment. Now, for those of you who like observing eclipses through cycles, there are many cycles, just Google it. There are many different ways of studying eclipses. The one that I tend to look at, follow it, is the Saros cycles. And I believe this solar eclipse is part of the Saros solar cycles of eclipses number 134. So look back what happened 18 years ago. Look back what happened 36 years ago. Look back what happened 54 years ago, if you're old enough to remember or to been alive to experience it, even if you don't necessarily remember, and look at these cycles and see how they influence you in the present. What decisions were made at those times in your life, and how do they impact who you are right now? Because what you're deciding, what you're doing, what you're feeling, what you are being right now is the seed of what will get carried forwards into further 18, 36, 54, etc., years and cycles. And that's why eclipses are important. It's important not to emphasize, it's a big thing. You know what? It's always a big thing. It's always a massive thing. Every day there's something happening. But it's significant because there are moments in time where a single drop of intention carries waves forwards in ways that you can't even imagine. And eclipses are those very significant points. So be very sure in what you are doing. If there's something that you're doing right now or someone you're interacting with that you're not sure about, or maybe it's just not the time for you to be interacting with them, don't do it. If there's something that your instinct is saying, hey, I need to take a step back and really look at things before I open my mouth, do that. Respect your instincts and recognize the significance of this time. Now, there are multiple activations to this eclipse. This eclipse is also in conjunct Uranus, which can be an unpleasant wake up call if your relationship with relationships and relationship with abundance is not in alignment with the new consciousness of the planet that is emerging. There can be a little bit of dicey times and energies that come up through this. But whatever it is, take it one day at a time, one step at a time, one breath at a time. And generally good advice for life, but especially important during a solar eclipse in Libra. Um, so, that's what I wanted to say in a nutshell. Does anyone have any questions with respect to this eclipse? And in the meantime, let me also just say hi to everyone whilst I wait for the questions. I see Sheena. Thank you for talking about the next big event changes everything phenomenon. It's been on my mind a lot the last few years. I remember getting out of that mindset myself. Because when I started, it was like, wow, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And somewhere around 2016, I went, this is always happening. Like this, something is always happening. Why am I hyping this up just because everyone else is? And so I dropped that mindset. And now it's just like, oh, is this going on? Oh, okay. Now, if you ask me what is significant, we're going to be seeing some major planetary shifts in the next 3 years. Neptune into Aries, Saturn also into Aries. North Node will eventually finish a cycle and then start, reversing as it does, moving in reverse into Pisces. They are and Jupiter, Uranus preparing to enter Gemini. Those are major things that we can look forward to. But the build up to them is going to be super intense because these are major things that we also need to be clearing out from. And of course, Pluto doing its thing with Capricorn and Aquarius. The energy is just that intense all the time, every day. Making a hullabaloo about it is not going to help you navigate better. It's just going to make you more stressed. I see Christine and Black says, yes, this is the clearest and most subtle I felt in 2 years. Nice, nice. I see K. Marion. Hello, love. I see Austin. Hi. I see Veronica. Hi, thank you for visiting us with the eclipse. I always appreciate your practical wisdom. You are most welcome. You are most welcome. I mean, I remember one time years ago, someone thought that I wasn't I'm not saying that I am, but someone was very keen on pointing out how I wasn't a great astrologer because I just gave very simple pieces of advice. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, person, if you can't translate the skies into something practical and actionable, what are you even doing teaching? Of course, I didn't say anything. I was just like, oh, okay. But at the end of the day, astrology is just a tool. The spiritual lesson that astrology can teach you is going to come back to the basic spiritual lessons that you should know anyway on the path. So, sometimes the most important messages are the most basic and they are the most powerful, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not complex to execute. Happy Ho says slay. Slay. Chiron waves. Hi, Chiron. Chiron is my friend. I like seeing Chiron. I see Dusana. Been a while. Hi, Dusana. So, does anyone have any questions vis-a-vis the eclipse or related topics? Victoria says, my birthday is 2 days after the eclipse, already feeling some shifts. That's actually a good point. Now, generally for eclipses, you tend to see the eclipse window 1 week before and 1 week after. That's why it's best to consider it an eclipse month. Because as you're winding down from this eclipse, the next fellow is already starting. So totally that totally makes sense, Victoria. And thank you for sharing. And I hope you have a good birthday. I see Auntie Sue. Hello. I see Susan Murphy. Hello, love. Good to see all of you. We have a very nice, very sweet crowd here today. Let me tell you about some nice things that have been happening. And I wasn't expecting it. I don't buy into the Friday the 13th superstition thing, but imagine my surprise when a lovely member of Tier 23 decided to just go, you know what, it's been your brother's birthday. I'm paraphrasing, but she just wanted to contribute something because it was his birthday, and just wanted to make our lives a little happier, and that was really sweet. And another member decided that she wanted to send me a Halloween care box because that's our thing. So I get this care package filled with Nightmare Before Christmas paraphernalia because I love Nightmare Before Christmas, and lots of beautiful little Halloween costumes for the little cat fellows. So we've been putting them on them, and let's just say Lucky Cat is very, very happy looking like a sunflower. She doesn't want to take it off. So you will be seeing that when we do our special Halloween broadcast. So we've been finding joy and, doing lovely things. And I've been so grateful to the people who see value in this work and how I'm doing it. And those are wonderful gifts, wonderful things to receive at this time. So that was nice. Let's see. 305 Cap says, I'm so late, I'll have to rewatch. Hope all is well. Things are getting better, and it's always nice to see you. Lusana says, any specific stones or herbal allies you would recommend with the current energies? This is a good question. So I realized something about why I stopped recommending stones to people. Honestly, when I am working with a stone at this point, having been through a very extreme journey, I realize that I end up programming the stone more than it actually interacts with me. So when I look at the stones these days, I look more at them as, hey, buddy, want to come hang out? Come, I'll come charge you. And we have a nice conversation. But in general, right now, if you are using stones, and it didn't always used to be this way. I used to always have this great time of feeling a stone, feeling the vibe. But recently that has changed. It's more my vibe influences the stone. And that was a big shift as I enter a new phase of my spiritual journey. But this time, bearing the fact that that's not always going to be the case with everyone using stones, my recommendation is use a balancing stone. And that is different for each person because it depends what your imbalance is. So if you have a stone, or rather, if you have the type of constitution that's very focused on the mind, but not focused so much on the heart or body, you want the kind of grounding stone that brings you back to your emotions, whilst recognizing and acknowledging your mind. So really, balance is the theme. How you find that balance is going to be very different. What I can recommend as a general idea would be this is beautiful stone, ammonite or ammonite. The ammonite is the very polished form of it, and ammonite is a fossil. You actually find these in Canada, and they're beautiful rainbow stones. So that's actually what I would recommend at this time. You don't need to buy anything super fancy. Even a rough or unpolished one is perfectly fine, because this will also help you find balance at a very practical level. Herbal allies, that one, and the herbalists know there are too many ways to interpret that, just because, again, you would need to know what the imbalance actually was. So that one I can't really speak to, as I am not a herbalist, but I do enjoy at this time of year a good old dose of wormwood, Artemisia, hang on, which is Artemisia absinthium. Would not recommend it if you are pregnant, because it can cause miscarriages. Also, if you're very sensitive, don't take it. I personally enjoy wormwood, but my brother says I'm weird because I really like the taste of it. But that's what I like at this time of year. Candy says, is it normal to feel a decrease in energy around this type of eclipse? Well, one of the things we see for this eclipse is that Mercury is opposed Chiron. So this is a time where you are more likely to see your vulnerabilities more highlighted to you. And unless there is some kind of predatory or parasitic energy in the environment or person in the environment that is draining you, it is more likely that you are feeling that sense of vulnerability about certain parts of yourself that need attention. And it is a good question, but you don't necessarily need to feel energized or drained as a matter of rule during an eclipse. It all depends on the person. I just think that maybe it might be a part of you that needs more attention. That's how I would interpret it at the very least. Chiron says, my Libra midheaven has been living for your deeper diving into the archetype. Excited to watch the beginning of this. Yay! Dusana sends cat. Yay. Sarah says, hi, Dr. B. I was thinking about you today, and here you are. That happens. Hi, Sarah. I see Miss Real. Greetings. Hello, hello. 305 says, seems like a very tough time for me at this moment. I'm going through so much waves of emotions. Totally understandable. There is a lot that's happening. In fact, right now we also have Mars in Scorpio. Yes, Mars in Scorpio, trine Saturn in Pisces. So there are very, very deep emotional currents that are also coming up at this time. Perfectly understandable. Yes, he says, good day, Dr. B. Glad got a live session. Yay, yay. Seven cap sun moon. I was born on an annular eclipse, right? As the eclipse will be taking place. I've been extremely tired and needing extra rest this entire week. Is there a reason for this fatigue? Well, given the fact that someone else asked this question, there is probably a larger collective reason as well. But again, it depends very much on your circumstances. The key message at this time is balance. So if you are doing too much, if your boundaries are porous or not well maintained, or if you are giving your energy to someone or something else in your environment, unless it is a personal vulnerability that needs more of your attention to heal, that is, and that's why your energy is getting diverted, that's one thing. Otherwise, it may be a siphon or leak in your environment. One thing I also want to point out, during this eclipse, we do see a grand Earth trine between Uranus and Taurus, Hylanome, which is an energy that has a lot to do with codependency and grief, and also Therius, the hunter stalker in Virgo. So, looking at the backdoors that are within us, often because we have not yet processed certain types of grief and or certain codependent dynamics, is also a very big time. So that is another factor that could be causing a lot of this. Good night, Irene says, hi, hello, hello. Bria, the MUA. What is the MUA? Hi, beautiful. Your wisdom is always timely. Same with me and the so and so. Nice, nice to hear that. I thought, shit, that's weird. But yeah, no, I can't really use stones anymore in the same way. I just end up programming them and hanging out and chilling out. But yeah, and I get super protective. So, Seven Cap Sun Moon says, thanks, Dr. B. You're most welcome. Just check and see what the back door is. That's also a theme at this time. And this is one of the reasons why I like the YouTube lives, because there's so many different facets to any day that we look at, any alignment that we look at. And I don't really want to just like inundate you with waves of abstract knowledge without a practical reason or cause. So it's nice to get these questions. Having said that, are there any other questions, comments, or people who just want to say hi, which is totally fine and it's totally appreciated? Let me know, let me know. Let's see. And if not, I can just sign out. And my brother and I, do check out that sibling special that we did recently on the similarities between Halloween and Christmas, and why we're just considering this whole period Halloween. So, that might be of interest at this time as well. Angel K says hi and bye. Hi, bye. So, if there are no questions, I can wander off because we are going to be decorating Halloween cookies. Susanna says take care. All right, so take care, everyone. Lots and lots and lots of love. Be kind to yourself and to others. Be loving and be fair. And that's the key take home from this time period. And keep it very simple. No need to overcomplicate anything. And just remember, it's great to want to fight for justice, but if the fight for justice excludes you, then it ain't justice. And that's about it. Ciao, ciao for now. Bye.